everyone, welcome to this session on SEO tutorial. Today in this session, we are going to understand step by step what is search engine optimization. Now, as you all know, digital marketing is the heart of any online business these days. And the lifeline of every online business is organic traffic. So how do you get organic traffic on your website? By doing search engine optimization. So let's go ahead and understand what this search engine optimization is by looking at the agenda. Alright guys, so first we are going to get introduced to what SEO is and then move on to understand what is keyword research exactly and how to do it. After that, we'll understand how to understand the search engine functionality of a particular search engine that you're dealing with, and then move on to discuss the two types of SEO, which is off-page SEO and on-page SEO. After that, we'll talk about what is content duplication and then talk about what are Google algorithms and how do they work. Once we're done with that, we'll talk about some popular SEO techniques which you can use while implementing an SEO plan for a particular website, and then talk about what is competition in SEO. After that, we'll talk about how you can design a good website, with the best practices that you have learned in this session for its SEO. And then we'll move on to talk about what is local SEO. Once we're done with that, we'll talk about how you can measure the SEO performance of your website on which you have now deployed the SEO plan. And after that, talk about the various tools through which you can measure this performance. And finally, we'll talk about what is conversion rate optimization. So guys, this is the agenda for this session. I hope it's clear to you. So now let's move on and talk about our first topic, which is introduction to SEO.
You might have heard of SEO. In fact, I promise you that you've been using products of SEO all along until now. No matter what you do, a simple Google search will sort of give you an idea. But then just to understand what SEO basically is, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it is a practice that is used. It is a methodology that is used to see how you can have traffic coming to your websites, how you can have more people visiting your website, your business, whenever they search for something on a website. Now, for example, the websites we're taking into consideration here is a search engine like Google. It can be Yahoo, it can be Bing, it can be DuckDuckGo, whatever it is, right? But the most popular one in today's world is Google, of course. And we'll check out why Google is the most popular search engine in the next couple of slides as well. But then for now, you need to understand that SEO is a methodology, right? It's a practice which will basically help you understand how the website's ordering is done. So now, for example, I just opened up a Google Chrome tab where I just typed in buy mobile phone, right? That's just a random thing. If I can keep scrolling down, if you can see all of these websites, the search results that are shown to you, it'll look very random as to, why is this shown here? Why is this particular thing at the last, or why is Amazon at the first here? And of course, you can ignore the advertisements because people pay to get the products put up here. So now, this ordering might seem random at first, but then let me tell you, this is absolutely not random. If they are ranking in this particular order, it's going to take a lot of work. You're going to see that throughout this particular video. You'll understand how, why, and what goes into ranking these websites and how they attain these statuses. For example, by rank, what we mean is that Amazon is in the first position here when you search. So when you search, it comes in the first position. So it's in the first rank. Flipkart is in number 2, and just so on and so on, right? Now, when you can think about it, the first thought that will come into your mind is, of course, this particular website is famous because a lot of people love it, a lot of people shop on it, it's the number 1 e-commerce platform, whatever it is. Then Flipkart, it's a similar story. Now, when you keep scrolling down, you realize that the popularity might be a little less compared to where you're buying from or what you're buying from, and then you get a sense of idea saying, okay, now I have a tiny understanding of what is actually going on here when I look at a website. And that is exactly what is intriguing about SEO and how much of work has to go into doing something like that. And then when you think about it, you're here because you want to learn more about SEO. So to quickly have an insight regarding that, here's a section for it. So whenever you're learning SEO, you'll have questions such as, is learning SEO helpful? Is learning SEO overwhelming? Is it a lot to learn? How easy is it? How tough is it? How fun is it to work with SEO? So the answer to the first question is yes, it's amazingly helpful, as you'll see throughout this video. Is it overwhelming? Yes, certain times it can get overwhelming due to the plethora of content that is available, but then if you follow the structured methodology of learning and understanding what needs to be done, you'll be all right. It's pretty much fun to work with, of course, and again, it's so intriguing, it's so much fun. You will enjoy learning it and seeing through this particular session as well. And then you might have certain concerns saying, how long will I take to learn SEO, or is it too much information? I don't know where to start. Do I need to have technical skills? Do I need to have a formal education? How quickly can I implement things that I've learned? I can give you straight up answers to these right now, but then it will not really add any value in case if you're actually serious about learning SEO. So what we'll do is we'll answer all of these questions again. We'll revisit, and at the end of the session, let's come back, and once on this slide, when the session gets over, you guys can in fact answer these to the best of your ability. So that could be something fun as well. Now coming to how one can track your progress, right? So there's 3 levels when it comes to learning SEO. One's the beginner level, one's the intermediate level, and of course the expert level. Now with the beginner level, again, if you do not understand any terms that you see on your screen right now, it's absolutely all right. You will get what each of these means throughout this session. But then for now, if you're a beginner, you would say something like, I know how title tags work, I know what they mean and what they do and all of that. If you were an intermediate person, you would know what canonicals are, how canonicals are used, and what's its power as well. But then if you're an expert, remember this particular part, because we're going to discuss Google's algorithm in the next coming slides as well. So if you know at least 40%, we're not asking 100%, it's only 40%. So if you know 40% of Google's algorithm, you are considered to be an expert in the world of SEO. Yes, you might be wondering, well, isn't 40% the minimum of things, or the set standard of minimum, or things like that? Well, you'll find out why it's 40%. Anyway, moving on. So throughout this video or any other content that you're using to learn SEO, make sure you're having fun and understand what your goal is. First thing is, you might be learning for fun. You might be learning to understand how amazing the concept is, or whatever, or in fact, you're a person who is looking for an entry level job as well. It can be an intermediate level job too. You might be moving from programming to the world of SEO, into the world of marketing and whatnot. And of course, you can be doing this to deepen your knowledge. As I just mentioned, it can be a combination of anything. You don't have to have this one particular skill or be this one particular expert to learn SEO. Absolutely not. But then to make sure you're not confused on the way, have a goal, assess the goal to understand what you are in it for, because learning for fun, it's amazingly fun to work with, which you'll see. Getting an entry level job, of course, SEO jobs pay amazingly well, because everyone in the world right now requires SEO. Trust me, every single website out there are using SEO in one way or the other, and that says a lot about SEO. And of course, deepening your knowledge, it's always fun. When it comes to anything regarding information technology, it's always good to have certain skills in your arsenal, and SEO is one of that. Now, with this, you'll have questions saying, yes, I am not from a computer science background, I might not have amazing English, or I might have not done marketing before. So what's SEO to me? Well, it'll just add a bit of advantage if you are good at these things. See, if you have a computer science or an information science education, you'll have an easier transition coming from another concept to the world of SEO. This doesn't mean it'll make it exponentially easier, absolutely not, but then you will tend to pick up things faster, and that's about it. With English, SEO involves a lot of writing high quality content and making sure that you deliver the highest possible quality in the work that you do. With that, communication skills and English play a good role. So having a good ability in the English language is always an advantage as well. But then when you think about the marketing side of it, marketing becomes pretty important alongside your education and your English, because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to understand what is it that your customer customers require with you as a business, and then providing exactly that. Because if they want apples and you're providing oranges, it literally doesn't make sense to them, right? You will not get any business. Now it's not only business, it can be anything. It can be something as simple as you are trying to write a beauty blog, a fitness blog, or you're trying to make a video, but then if you put in hours and hours of work into it and then it ranks somewhere on the 10th page, let's be honest, we really do not search page number 10 or 9 or 8, or in fact many, like 90% of the people don't even go to page number 2 on Google when they search for something. And then now you realize, when you've put in so much of hard work, if it doesn't reach the right people, it doesn't make sense. So marketing definitely plays a good role as well. So to start out with the very fair basics of it, the first thing you have to understand, the first thing in fact you will understand through this video, is how searching actually works. The process of you going onto the Google search page, typing for something, how the front end works, how Google presents information to you, and what is happening on the back end with the algorithms, everything. Of course you're going to get this answer through the video. And then the second thing is, when you search for something, what is it that is literally happening that you cannot see? There's a couple of things that you can see on your screen, of course, when you search for something, but then there are things that happen without your knowledge there as well. So that is again something which we're going to discuss. And the third concern, which of course many of you at this point of time might have, is, well, okay, you spoke about an order, you spoke about how there's a rank. So if we pay Google, can we sort of come higher? So can we pay Google to put our website and show it at first or something? Well, the answer is yes and no. Yes, because this is a different concept when you compare it to SEO. It's called as SEM, which means search engine marketing. That's the first tab, the advertisements tab that we saw. That's a very similar concept to that. And then there's another concept called as organic traffic, where your content is good enough, where your website is good enough, whatever you're doing, people are liking it, and hence Google decides, what, more people have to see this, and Google starts ranking your content ahead. So there's two ways to it, and I hope I was clear with that. So coming to SEO's first concept, the first thing that you will have to learn whenever you're thinking about SEO is keyword research. So what's a keyword? In fact, instead of going into keyword research first, let's understand what a keyword is. So you remember how searching on Google gets a bit different every single time. You can search for something as simple as running shoes. You can search for something as men's running shoes. You can search for something as size 9 men's running shoe, weatherproof size 9 men's running shoe, all weather. So all of these are search terms, right? So each of these we call them as a keyword. So a keyword is used to understand SEO because this is what people are searching for. And as a provider, as a person who wants his or her website to rank, your job is to make sure that you provide whatever is required when this person is searching for the right and the relevant keyword, right? So the intent with the keyword research is to first understand what your customer, or what anyone, doesn't have to be a customer, what this person is searching for on Google, why they are searching for it, and how you can provide something to it. There's three types of things people come searching for. One, it's a transaction. They're either buying something on the internet, or they're moving through web pages and they're just looking for things to buy, make purchases and whatnot. That's the transaction side of it. And then there's the information side of it, where of course millions of users active right now who are on the internet to learn something new, to gain information about something, and to learn something at the end of the day, right? So that's information. When you talk about navigation, there are people who moved from one website to the other looking for things when they couldn't find it, probably when they were on their information hunt. So now they're watching a YouTube video, next they're doing something else. So they're moving around, jumping around in the internet, hoping that they would find something relevant to them. So these are the three types of transactions that usually happen on the internet. One is where they come for purchases, two, they come for information to learn something, and three, they're moving around looking for something to do. So when this is the case, you have to understand that you have to find ways to cater for them, and you cannot say I'm gonna cater to only transactional crowds and leave out the people who are hunting for information. For example, as we first saw, if you're looking to buy mobile phones, and if it's a transactional customer, the person is going to type, I want to buy a mobile phone, buy mobile phone, best price, discounts, whatever. So this person will basically get the details of it, go through the transaction, and he's a happy person. Now, if you were not catering to a person who is looking for information, you just say, hey, mobile phones available, buy it here. But no, right? Many e-commerce sites, in fact, all of the e-commerce sites provide like technical specifications, details, and there's so many things that involve a simple concept of buying a mobile phone that they give you information as well. So they're catering to both people here. And of course, you can navigate through and compare products and whatnot. So all of these three customers in just one use case are being handled very effectively. So this is how, in fact, it's supposed to be. Now, when the talk is about keyword, as I just gave you the example, there's actually three types of keywords and how it actually varies. So let me explain the three types of keywords, alright? So the first is short tail, the second one is medium tail, and the third type of keyword is the long tail keywords. So what happens with short tail keywords, as the name suggests, is they are short. So whenever you search for something on Google, this is what you would be typing. If you wanted shoes, you just type shoes. That's it. It's very generic. It doesn't give you much information, or it doesn't in fact give Google much information about what you want as well. Then comes the medium tail search keywords. Medium tails are a little more than short tails in size, of course. They're a little more specific, but they are nowhere detailed. Because look at the example. Instead of searching for shoes, now you're searching for women's shoes. So you're a little more specific. It's good because you know what you're getting. Google understands what it should show you. And then there's long tail keywords. Long tail keywords are amazing because there's a lot of detail involved. Now you're going to type exactly what you need. Nike, waterproof, running, women's shoes. And then Google understands, yes, this is exactly what you want. This is what I'm going to cater for you. So instead of putting it separately, we've put it on a very attractive looking graph. So what is this graph all about? One side on the y-axis, you see something called as search volume. On the x-axis, you see something called as conversion rate. Well, let me explain what search volume means. Search volume means it's literally the amount of people who are searching for this. So the people who type shoes are higher in number when compared to people who type women's shoes. That is higher in number when it comes to people searching for Nike waterproof running women's shoes. And that's pretty clear from the graph, right? So search volume is basically the number of people who are actually searching for it. So in this aspect, there are more people who search for short-tailed keywords than medium-tail and long-tail keywords. That's an advantage because a lot of people search for that and Google knows this as well. Now, there's a disadvantage to it, and that is what is denoted in the x-axis, the conversion rate. So the conversion rate is not just you coming on a website and searching for it, but then did you actually make a transaction? Did you actually buy a shoes? So the chances of making a purchase, or what we call as a conversion, when you go from a person who's just browsing to a person who just bought the shoe, that's basically conversion rate. So you go from an interested person to a customer, you actually make the purchase. That's conversion rate. And then as you can see from the graph, whenever someone has typed shoes into Google, there's a very low conversion rate. People have not actually gone to buy it. But then when they have typed women's shoes, there's a little more chances that they have bought. And when they type in something as detailed as you can see on the long tail keyword, the conversion rate is the highest because it's very specific. So Google's going to show you the perfect search results where you can make up your mind and make the purchase rapidly, right? So it makes sense. Short tail keywords, very nice because a lot of people search for it. Long tail keywords, amazing because there's a lot of conversion rate happening there. Now, as a business, you are looking for conversion rate and you're looking for search volume as well. You want people to search for what you provide, and you want people to do it in a way where they're eventually a customer for your brand, right? So that's a balance that you have to find to understand your customer base in between search volume and conversion rate. So I hope we were very clear with the types of keywords that exist: short tail, medium tail, and long tail. Now with this, the second SEO concept that we're going to discuss is definitely something called search engine functionality. So now, we talked about the insight as soon as we started the video, right? Like I told you, whatever appears on the search engine result, it's not going to be random, it's in a particular order. Okay, so how does Google know that it has to show you the data in that particular order? And what is this order based upon? Is there any logic to this particular order? Well, this is going to give you clarity about that. See, the first thing is you will have a website and you will have certain amount of details, content, products, or whatever it is on your websites that you want search engines to show to people. So search engine does this by using an entity called as a crawler or a spider. So crawlers and spiders are algorithms. They are these entities which have the ability to see through your website, scan all of the content that are present in your website to see to which keyword would it be effective to show your content. So they crawl through your websites, they understand what content you've put up, and then they later store it in something called as the search engine index. So this search engine index is what guides the entire ordering. So after moving through your website, going through your content, it's going to index your website. So once your website is indexed, it's going to appear on the Google search page. So this is what SERP, or SERP as we call it in short, stand for. It's search engine page results, and this is exactly what would go on if you were to search on a search engine, in fact even other than Google as well. So you have a website first, and then Google's going to send its spiders and crawlers all through your website. It's going to have access to certain things and not have access to certain things, which we'll discuss about. It's going to find out a lot about your website. It's going to try to understand what is effective for this website, and for what keyword should it show your content. Because if someone is searching for buy mobile phones, and if you're providing something like a necklace, it really doesn't make sense, right? So why would you want to show a necklace jewelry website to a person who wants to do that? It wouldn't make sense. Exactly my point. So this is mysterious in a way because it is extremely complex to understand how search engines completely work. You can of course get good, you can use all the SEO methodologies that you know in your book, legal, illegal, again we're going to discuss all of this, to eventually rank your website, get a lot of organic traffic, people coming on their own without you paying the Google page. So that's one way to look at it. And the second way, as I just mentioned, is of course that, since it's very, very complex to crack, it takes a lot of effort to understand. Again, we're going to look at why it's complex as well. With this, we're going to come to a section where we'll check out the types of SEO. There's two main types of SEO. It's called as on-page SEO and off-page SEO. In fact, there's something else called as technical SEO, which we're going to discuss as a part of off-page SEO, and you'll see why. So with this, coming on to the actual discussion of on-page SEO, you might be wondering, okay, it says on-page, what does it mean? Well, literally, as the name suggests, on-page SEO is all about tweaking things that are present on your websites. So whatever elements, entities, and things that you can see on your website, right? It's on the page. So all of these, when they are tweaked, you're basically doing on-page SEO technique. So you're using that technique to do it. Now you might be wondering, okay, so what do I have on my website that I can optimize to have a good on-page SEO strategy, right? Well, the first thing is your website structure. See, it's very easy to lose track of your customers because your website, one, is not structured, or two, it's very complex, or three, your customers don't understand what is going on in your website. So having a very good structure will definitely help your on-page SEO plan, because at the end of the day, as a customer, as a person who is looking to learn something, or even if it's a transaction, I would love a website which is very structured, which is nice to look at and elegant, right? This is on-page SEO. And then it's not just the look, the feel of it, it is the content. Because you might have the most beautiful looking website, the most structured website, but if whatever content you've put inside the website isn't up to the mark, or if that isn't exactly high quality, or in fact if that isn't original as well, then no, it doesn't make sense. So content is a very, very important part of on-page SEO too. And the third thing is coding. See, now when you think about coding, you might be like, okay, how do we sort of, optimize the on-page elements using coding? A lot of front-end styling is done when you make use of HTML, CSS, the style sheets basically, and a lot of front-end working JavaScript frameworks as well. Now, when this is the case, you have a lot of freedom, you have a lot of free hand to design a good website, an elegant website, and a website which is functional as well. So with the use of coding, there is a lot you can do to boost your on-page SEO campaign. Now, so apart from that, which is going to mean a lot to your on-page SEO, are the following concepts. We have schema, we have title tag, we have meta description, we have the image alt text, we have something called as the feature snippet as well. If you do not know any of these terms, do not worry. We're going to cover them, one by one. So coming to the first thing, it's schema. Now, what is a schema and how does it matter? Well, schema is simply the detail of a description of the website content for users. So whenever you type in buy mobile phone on Google, or you're very specific enough, you want the latest Apple iPhone, right? So you're going to type in Apple iPhone on Google, and then it's not going to just tell you, hey, here's where Apple iPhone is available, come buy. No. It's going to tell you a lot of details about it, right? It's going to enhance whatever you're searching for. If you're searching for an iPhone 11, it's going to give you the image of iPhone 11s. It's going to tell you these are the amount of quantity in stock right now that you can buy. What do other people think of it in terms of ratings and reviews? And of course, what is the price it is selling at as well? So instead of just saying, hey, come buy Apple phones, think about it. With the schema, it looks very attractive and your chances of clicking on it is good as well, because you're getting the image, you're getting the available quantity, you're getting all the reviews and the ratings, and of course you're getting the price up front even without clicking on their website as well. So let's actually demonstrate this. So if you have to buy the iPhone 11 Pro Max, like this is an example, this doesn't have to be the Apple's iPhone. Now look at this particular snippet out here. This is just a search result, right? I haven't clicked on any of the websites that you see on your screen. But then now you can see that it says it's available. What is the size of memory in it? What is the color of it? What is the price of it? They say it's free delivery. They say the discount you're going to get. Of course, the actual price, the ratings, the number of reviews. So you understand this, right? So you get a lot of details just on the search page, even without clicking on it. That is schema. Now, the second concept is title tag. Title tag is basically what appears when you search for something. So as you saw, whenever we search for something like an iPhone, it showed the titles in a particular order, right? Now look at this. It says Apple iPhone 11 Pro, then it says the color, and then it says the website. That it's shown in. Now this doesn't have to be the exact order, but this is just what these people have sort of picked up. It can be something like this, iPhone 11 Pro Max by Apple and Apple.com. So this particular order that you see, there's something called as the primary keyword. This is the exact keyword on which you want your content to rank. So when someone searches for iPhone 11 Pro Max, you want your link to be there. And then there's the secondary keyword, which is supportive of the primary keyword. In case if your content doesn't rank on the primary keyword, or if you have to support it thoroughly, you're going to put that secondary keyword. In this case, it's Apple, because iPhone is from Apple. And then of course, at the end of it, brand name, as we saw with Amazon as well, right? So it's apple.com. So this particular way of putting your title tag affects your SEO so much. So it's going to be a make and break policy whenever you think about any of these situations, guys. It's not just I'm going to put anything I want and Google will do it. Absolutely no. You have to be very specific. It has to be very concise, and it has to be very readable as well. Now if I look at this example, I understand exactly what that link is going to show me. It's going to show me everything about this phone. It's not going to show me a grocery shop, right? So it's the highest clarity possible. You will like it, as your customers they will like it, and Google as a search engine will love showing these to people. So title tag is something which is very important. And then coming to something called as meta description. Meta description is the detail that is shown on the screen. If we have to have a name where we're describing the schema, well, that is meta description in all of its glory, because it appears below the website. It's going to give you a lot of details even without you having to click on it. So this is everything. So this is very, very convenient when you think about it, because if you were not given a meta description, you will have to click on the actual website to understand, what the website is providing. It can be a waste of your time. The website's not loading. The website is slow. You have to do it 10-15 times. No, with this, it's very convenient. And then this concept you already saw, but then the next one, have you seen using alt text to images? You might be wondering, what an image or alt text means, right? Now, it is basically used to provide a description to an image. See, when you look at an image, you will understand if it's a picture of a cat or a picture of a dog, or if it's a picture of a brand or whatever it is. As soon as you look at it, your brain is trained enough to probably tell what it means. Of course, there can be things which you will not know, and that's not the point of the discussion. So here, when you search for something, you will understand it, but how will Google know it, right? Google, of course, it is very intelligent. They use a lot of algorithms to make sure whatever they're doing is smart, it's intelligent and all of that, right? And alt text is basically a way where you're going to tell the search engine, saying, hey, this is this. If you have an image of a cat, your alt text will be something like cat. If you want a detailed alt text, it will be like, hey, white cat with blue eyes, 10 months old, cute looking kitten, something like that. That's an alt text. I mean, I'm just giving you an example here. So that way, as soon as Google sees it, even though it can perform image recognition, it can look at the text and process it 100 times faster. It'll look at the text, it will be like, this is a cat. It's going to use its algorithms to scan through the picture if it's a cat or not. If it's a cat, then it's 100% confirmed that it's a cat, and it's going to start showing people the image whenever they search for cats, right? So there's this one rule that you have to follow whenever you're working with the image alt text, is that there's a limit to it. There's 125 characters, which is considered to be the maximum in which you have to sort of fit all your details about the image in. If you move it above 125 characters, it really becomes cumbersome for you, for the viewer. Of course, the viewer doesn't see the alt text unless the image is not loaded, and even for Google as well. So to demonstrate the image alt text, let us pick up our brand name itself. I click Intellipaat. Let me just quickly go to images. I'm gonna pick our image, something like this. I'm gonna open the image here in the new tab, okay? And now I'm gonna right click on this particular logo. We have our Intellipaat logo, and I'm gonna inspect this. See, as soon as I inspect it, so it's going to show me what alt text it is. Can you see this part? Let me make this bigger. Yep. So can you see this part which says image source, from where it has to get the source image from? And there's a tiny attribute to the HTML syntax called alt. So this particular alt part of it is telling Google, saying, hey, when someone searches for Intellipaat, this image means Intellipaat, so please show that. So this is exactly what that is. And coming to the next concept after image alt searching is something called as feature snippets. Feature snippets are amazing because these will give you way more information than meta descriptions and schemas in general. Because here what Google is doing is it's going to give you like ready upfront information to a thing that you have searched. And if you're providing content which is extremely valid, it's really good, people like it, you've written a high quality blog or anything, it's going to give you certain details exactly matching the keyword that you've searched for. So as you can see from the red part which is highlighted on your screen, instead of a very short description of what happens in the meta description, there is an entire different section where it's going to give you a big answer which will match what you're searching for, right? So this is what a feature snippet looks like. So it's going to be a detailed answer picked up from the content present in the website for which you're searching for. So this is basically a way that Google is telling you that, hey, this is the best possible result I can give you for your keyword. So that's featured snippet. And this is all about your on-page SEO, everything from the schema, title tag, the content that you put, the meta description that you type in, the title you give, the alt text you give for your images, because Google will understand images and it will help your website rank better, and it's going to give you a featured snippet if your content is amazing. So when you think about it, on-page SEO is really good. But then so there is something else that adds value to SEO, and that is off-page SEO. So now you might be wondering what off-page SEO is. So as the name suggests, even in the case of on-page SEO that we saw was everything that had to do with whatever is on your page, on your website. With off-page SEO, again, similarly, it is everything that has to do with whatever doesn't seem to be on your website. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's everything that doesn't directly happen on the website, but of course it is still related to your website. You might be wondering, okay, if I'm optimizing something that is not shown on my website, or it's not something that the customers or someone coming onto my page is going to directly interact with, why would I even need to do something like off-page SEO optimization, right? The answer to that is, well, there's three things of why you should do it. One, it's called trust. You have to build a certain trust rating with the search engine and with your customers, where they understand that you're a brand, you're going to provide the highest quality content possible, and you're going to help them out with the query that they're searching for. If they're searching for how to make apple cake, you're going to provide the most nicest how to make apple cake video, blog, or whatever it is, and then of course they're going to keep coming back to you, right? So this is trust. And then there's brand awareness. Brand awareness is where you're not going to be the only person on the entire internet making an apple cake or showing the world how to make an apple cake, right? Yes. Now, understanding that you are the best person to give it is all about brand awareness, knowing that, hey, if I visit this particular website, I'm going to get the best stuff here. So making sure your reachability is there, where thousands, if not millions of people are, clicking on your stuff, on your website, on your videos to get whatever it is that they require, that they're searching for, right? So this is the second point. Third point is complementary to the second point, which is basically exposure. So exposure is putting your brand out there, putting the best possible content. Again, you'll see how many times I'm using the word best possible content, right? And I mean it, because alongside SEO, content is the king. Because with bad content, no matter how good your SEO is, it might not help. So content is very important, and with good content comes a lot of clicks, comes a lot of exposure, eventually brand awareness, and of course trust. Now you know how it works, right? So now, if it's this important to have off-page SEO, well, how does it work? There's two main concepts to it. One is called as backlink, and the other one is social media. A backlink is where you link your websites to other websites, where there's a lot of quality content. There's inbound pages, outbound pages, inbound links. There's so many things we're going to discuss about this. But then the other thing is social media as well, because you can go onto your LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you can put on something about whatever you're providing, and people are going to search through it, and eventually they're going to come to your website, right? So it's called marketing, but then it's search engine optimization as well, because you can go to LinkedIn, type in Intellipaat, and it's going to bring you to our website, and you will see all the nice things that we provide. But then yes, this didn't have anything to do directly with the Intellipaat's website, right? It's about the brand, it's about the trust you guys have in us and our exposure as well. So this is off-page SEO. So there's something called link building that adds amazing value to off-page SEO. And if you're wondering what link building is, it's basically hyperlinking, multiple other websites, and then sort of attaching your brand with theirs and whatnot. Now, with link building, it's literally the process of hyperlinking multiple websites to each other, okay? There's two types of links when it comes to link building. It's do follow links and no follow links. You remember we talked about spiders and crawlers and bots, right? So those go through your website to get all of the data. So if it's a do follow link from a reliable website who is ranking higher than you, for example, that'll basically say that you are reliable, because this particular highly reliable website has mentioned you. Google will know that, okay, now that this person has mentioned it, I think you are reliable as well, right? So through this, search engines will get to know that you are reliable, you are reputable, and everything. And what it does is it'll improve your website rank. So again, this has nothing to do directly with your websites, but it's about other websites which are probably better ranking than yours, mentioning you, where Google will understand, saying, hey, this person mentioned it, so this guy has to be reputable, right? That's do follow links. Now there's no follow links, where it'll have absolutely no effect on your SEO in terms of crawlability or in terms of these spiders and bots ranking your website, because there's an attribute in the HTML part of it which is put, which will make sure to tell the bot, saying, hey, you know what, do not follow this link. I've put up the link, but then as of the SEO requirement, you're going to tell the bot to not follow the link. So no follow links will basically, no matter where they're pointing to, your website or another website, it's gonna have zero impact on the ranking as well. So these are the two types of links that you have to understand whenever you talk about link building. Now, You might be asking, link building, is it only to increase brand exposure, trust, or is there anything else to it? So, how can link building be profitable to you? How can it benefit your business? And does it have a massive impact? So, these are the questions you will have now, right? So, here's the answer to it. The first thing is building relationships. Of course, at the end of the day, as I told you, there's a good chance you're not going to be the only one doing something on the internet unless you are. Of course, there have been cases of that, and there are cases of that. So building healthy relationships with other people who are doing similar things, you guys mentioning each other, giving shout outs to each other, or just seeing each other grow. So that's all about building relationships, right? And this is seen a lot in our community. So when you think about it, there's so many things to learn on the website, and then you go from one website to another website, and there's a website who's mentioning saying, hey, you know what, go to this website, go to Intellipaat, learn from that, or get certified from them. So just giving you an example, right? So that's the relationship you will have with the top website as well. And then referral traffic. So what happens is someone's going to click on that particular link, which is not your website, where it's mentioned saying, hey, check out this website. They're providing you the best certification courses available on the market right now. So what that person who clicked on it will think is like, okay, hey, this might help out my friends as well. So what that person is going to do is he or she is going to send it to his or her friend as well. So now you got referral traffic with having absolutely nothing to do with your own website. So one guy clicked on it, he liked it, he's going to refer your content through the other websites to people. They're going to come land on your website, which is the eventual goal, right? So that's referral traffic. And then there's brand building. So you have built up a brand. There's another heavyweight who's going to mention you, or you have built relationships with big brands. Then you have to make a name for yourself in whatever that you do, right? You're aiming to be the best at what you do. You're aiming to provide the best solution to a problem. You're aiming to provide the best content out there. You're aiming to provide the best possible outcomes to whatever happens when someone searches, right? So in that case, your brand name, building it, nurturing it, and maintaining it is just going to be very important for your off-page SEO campaign as well. So after understanding the link building concepts and how it can be helpful for you, you will have a question saying, okay, so what are the techniques that I can use to perform off-page SEO, right? The most important techniques are mentioned on your screen right now. It's guest posting, social media, and testimonial links. With guest posting, what's basically happening is let's say you want to write a blog. You're going to head to another website which is ranking higher than you. You're going to write a blog there and then mention a link to your original website. So that's guest posting. You're writing for your organization, but through someone else's media. And then there's social media. Social media is, again, as I mentioned, you're going to go on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram, mention something about your brand, or someone's going to mention something, and that's going to bring you traffic at the end of the day. So that's all about social media. I think you've got the very clear picture here with social media, and I don't think I have to elaborate on that, right? Because you see something you like on social media, there's a good chance you're going to click it. And if you click it, there's a good chance you're going to land on the website. You saw something you liked, and you're going to make a transaction, you're going to make a purchase, you're going to read a blog, you're going to like an image, whatnot, right? So that's the goal. And then testimonial links. Testimonial, whenever you talk about it, it's all about reviews. It's all about how's the rating, what's the trust setting like, and all of that. If 10 people give you a good rating on Google saying, hey, this is a trustworthy brand, they're amazing at what they do, and it's good, Google will understand this. Okay, yeah. So it's again another thing which is going to bring a lot of traffic to your websites because people like it. Google has become the top search engine because of its ability to provide the best possible search result for every keyword that it can think of, right? Now, in that case, testimonial links, social media, guest posting, all of these are going to have a good impact, as you've already guessed by now. Having a good SEO off-page campaign which involves guest posting, social media, and testimonial links are very, very important to drive traffic to your website. So as we just mentioned, two types of links exist. So we checked out link building, the advantages, how we can do it. But what are the types of links? Well, there's two very simple types of links, and by the name and by the guess of it, you would have already got what it means. There's something called as an inbound link, and there's something called as an outbound link. Now, with an inbound link is basically you're on someone else's website. You click a link which will basically bring that person onto your website. You're getting it, right? You're on an external website, clicking a link on their website, it's going to drive traffic to yours. That's inbound because there's traffic incoming through that link from another website to yours. Simple. Then there's outbound link. Outbound link is where traffic from your website is going out. It's gonna go out to other websites or images or whatever it is. So that's an outbound link. Let's just check out an inbound link very quickly right now. Okay, so this is a Medium blog. This is a top blog written on machine learning by one of the experts. So here, as you can see, there's a lot of things written, but then there is gonna be an inbound link here. As soon as I search Intellipaat, as you can see, this is just the source of the image that this person has used to write this blog. They've of course credited the source, and if I click on this right now, what will happen is it's going to take me to the website, right? So this is an inbound link. From here, this is not our website, this is not our brand, but as soon as I click on this, it brought us to our website, right? So this is Intellipaat's website. Now I came from external to Intellipaat, and this is an incoming link, as you can think of it, or it's also called as the inbound link. Now, after you understand this particular concepts of linking, there's one more thing which is going to require your attention. So this particular concept, it's called as content duplication, and as the name suggests, you might already know what duplicate content is. So the question you'll have, whenever we talk about content duplication is this. If Google will rank your website once, for anything good or anything that you've basically provided on the internet, what if I do it 100 times? Now my chances of being ranked went from 1 to 100, right? Well, no. That's not going to happen, because even if you have more websites of the exact same company, Google is intelligent enough to understand that, and it will not rank it. In fact, it will start deranking it, where it will stop showing people because of the duplication that you have done, because it's against the ethics and the rules of ranking on their search engine as well. Now, there are two types of content duplication that you might see. Is one, it's the same content on your website but on another website. Now, if you're, providing like course certifications like us, we cannot have two brand names with the exact same content of our website, one being intellipaat.com and the other one being something else. No, that would be illegal, right? That's exactly what number one talks about. Then number two is all about duplication of content. There can be two websites with two different URLs, but everything else on the inside, it's going to be the same. So two different URLs, same content is wrong. Same URLs and same content is of course not going to happen in real life. And then duplicate content of the exact same thing on multiple websites is not true as well. So talking more about number two, it's so what we're basically talking about is, if you're selling an Apple iPhone on your website, you will literally not show it 100 times on your website. You're going to show it once or twice maximum, and customers understand that you're showing it, right? There's no point in duplicating it 100 times where for the SEO purpose, where your customers can sort of see it. No, so it's going to annoy your customers, and it's going to annoy Google's algorithms as well, and it's going to start deranking it, because there's a lot of duplicate things which is not going to make sense to the user. So duplicate content of the same item or different item is not ethical, guys. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory, right? And then there are some times where, there are certain things which will be duplicate, which is unintentional, where, you might not know it because it's hidden in multiple web pages or whatever it is. So when that is the case, even if it's unintentional, is there a way to fix it? Yes, this is how you do it. So there's two things. One is called as the 301 redirect, where redirect is put for the. So whenever people search for something where it's duplicate, there's going to be a redirect which is going to move them to the actual content rather than the duplicate content. So this is moving your traffic permanently from the duplicate content to the original page. This is one way to fix content duplication. The second way to fix content duplication is by making use of this beautiful tool called as Google Search Engine Console tool. So this is not only just for content duplication, it's a tool which will do a lot of things. So after this video, make sure you hunt around and check for Google Search Engine Console tool. So using that tool and the 301 redirects, you can make sure to fix a lot of content duplication if it's put in unintentionally on the website as well. So with that, we come to the section where we can understand what Google algorithms are. And one thing to mention, if you remember at the start of it, you're an expert in SEO if you understand 40% of Google's algorithms, right? It's not the number of algorithms that you have to understand, it's how these algorithms work. Because as a search engine, Google is the most advanced search engine out there because it uses complex algorithms to make sure that the website ranks. You see, if there was a cheat code to ranking higher always, as a lot of people would have used it and in fact, sort of checked on it. But if that was the case, it would be unfair for the people who wouldn't understand how to do it. So Google has implemented like extremely complex algorithms which you cannot understand thoroughly. But then of course, this doesn't mean it's extremely secretive as well. You will get an idea through these following slides about what algorithms, what Google algorithms do, these individual algorithms. So to be fair, if you understand what these algorithms do, you will be one step ahead of your competition in a place where you will actually know how to rank better than them, right? So that's going to do a lot of impact for your business and for your brand too. So thinking about if you can beat Google's algorithms, now you're like, okay, I know what algorithms exist in Google. I've read through them. I am an expert in Google algorithms right now, and I want to beat these algorithms. Can you beat Google's algorithms? Well, let me tell you the answer is no, because Google is intelligent enough to keep changing their algorithms every now and then. So change is key here. What happens is if you found a certain Google algorithm that you can beat 90% of the time or 100% of the time, Google's going to just update that, and with the next update, the logic is going to be something different and you will have absolutely no idea how to beat it again. So it's this continuous race in the jungle where people find ways to sort of exploit Google's algorithms or to understand them completely, and Google is like, no, we're gonna upgrade it. So it's gonna remain a little mysterious, and this way you actually put in hard work to get honest organic traffic to your website, right? So this is how Google copes up with people who are wanting to beat algorithms. So this doesn't mean that if we do not beat algorithms, will we never rank? No, you will rank if your content is good, you will rank if you have good brand, you will rank if you are providing great content, and you will rank if customers want that and they're searching for it. But then to do it always 100% of the time, it's tough, and people want it 100% of the time because there's no higher than 100%, right? So that's why people get this thought saying, can we beat it? Anyway, coming to the first algorithm, this will be a very quick insight on these algorithms, because going into detail, we can take that up in another video. But for now, the first Google algorithm that we'll check out is Google Panda. Google Panda is basically, again, a spider, the crawler, the algorithm, the fancy thing which will go through your website and it will find content which is either duplicate, it will find if it is plagiarized, where you've copied from someone else, or if you have just randomly stuffed in keywords where you're going to give Google a chance to rank it, right? So stuffed content is something like if people are searching for an Apple iPhone, you're going to mention Apple iPhone 10,000 times on your website. So that is stuffed content. It will have absolutely no sense to the readers, but then you're only doing it for the SEO, and Google is intelligent enough to find this out. But then the thing that Google Panda is mainly concerned about is how the actual quality of your content is like. Is it a high quality content? Is it what people would like? Is it what people would not like because you have stuffed a lot of things, or it's duplicate, or it's plagiarized? So based on this, Google Panda is going to have an effect on the search engine index for your website or your brand as well. And then coming to Google Penguin. Penguin is something which is a nice algorithm that I like because so it finds out things by performing real-time analysis of your website. It's not like it's going to search and leave for a while. No, it's going to do it real time. So what it actually does is it finds irrelevant links, spammy links in your website, or anchor text which absolutely add no positives to your content. So when you're simply trying to stuff things up where it'll really not make sense to it, Google Penguin is intelligent enough to find that out, and it'll start down ranking it. By down ranking it, it basically means it'll start deranking it. If you appeared on the first page, but then whatever you're doing is not right, and Google finds out that there's something you're doing which is not right, it's gonna go back, it's gonna go down and make sure that you appear probably on the 10th page, or that you will not appear at all on the search engine. That's everything to do about Google Penguin as well. Down ranking if your content is manipulative or if it's wrong. Now here's an example of what keyword stuffing looks like. I gave you a generic Apple example, right? So here's a jewelry example. So these jewelry items are of top-notch quality. The jewelry is made by top artisans. If you're interested to buy the jewelry, reach out to us. The jewelry is imported from this. The jewelry is that. The jewelry is this. You understand that, right? Jewelry is the keyword. So when someone on Google searches for jewelry, they're supposed to see this. But then you've stuffed in that keyword so many times, so it actually downgrades the quality of grammar that you have used, the content, and Google also knows that you're trying to stuff. So it will really not help in that as well. And then coming on to the next algorithm, it's a simple algorithm. It's called the Hummingbird from Google. So Hummingbird, primary task apart from all of these. So these algorithms work hand in hand, all right? It's not like one algorithm just does this. Again, this part of it will be a little bit secretive because again, Google would not want to disclose their algorithms secret in this competitive world of search engines as well, right? So Hummingbird is another algorithm like that. It's going to hunt for low quality content. It's going to hunt for keyword stuffing, and it's going to make sure what the people are searching for and match it with what you're providing. So it has the ability to check your content, match it, and understand where it's appropriate to show your content if it's actually genuine and good. If it's bad, of course, deranking. If it's good, yes, it's going to show the content out. And then the next algorithm is Google RankBrain. RankBrain is probably the most intelligent algorithm that exists for any search engine anywhere today, because RankBrain is powered by machine learning. It's powered by deep learning, wherein it has the ability to understand not just the content like on the top of it, but the content thoroughly. So it'll understand what you're trying to tell with your content. Are you being manipulative, or do you have content which actually has no meaning but only for SEO purpose? Do you have a bad user interface? Are you providing a bad user experience? Are you not giving answers to questions which are query specific? Are you not catering to your audience? There's so many things RankBrain will look at, RankBrain will understand, and then it's going to put it out in the index list where through which Google will understand what it's supposed to rank, what it's not supposed to rank based upon this as well. So RankBrain is a very, very intelligent algorithm, and of course we can talk about RankBrain for hours together, but then to keep it to the scope of this video, we will have to move on. So the next thing that you should understand about or look towards whenever you talk about SEO is the techniques that people around the world actually use whenever they work with SEO, right? So these are some of the popular SEO techniques in today's world. There's three. There's white hat SEO, there's grey hat SEO, and there's black hat SEO. And if you're wondering why it's called all of these, you're going to understand just that. So what is white hat SEO? White hat, as the name suggests, it involves something to do with ethics and policies first of all, right? So it is basically a technique that is used in the world of SEO to make sure whatever you're doing on your website is following all of the rules, all of the policies of the particular search engine page or the search engine company, no matter what. So it's all legal. There's no way you're breaking any policy, any rules, and you're working towards understanding the algorithm and using them to your benefit, right? So how can white hat SEO benefit you? It's going to benefit you, one, if you make sure that your content is of the highest quality possible. Again, stressing on this so much. It's going to work when you're going to have relevant keywords to it. You have not stuffed random keywords there. Whatever you've typed is very relevant, highly readable, very good quality to look at, and much more. And then technical SEO. We're going to talk about this in the next slide. And then of course you have user experience. User experience is when you're actually putting the effort to legally provide a very good user experience for all the customers or all the people that are going to come on your website. All right. Now with this, what is technical SEO? Technical SEO is going to add a lot of meaning to your website. But what is it, right? The first question as soon as you see technical and SEO is this, do I have to be a developer? Do I have to have a very technically oriented resume to understand technical SEO or work with it? The answer is a big no in caps. I'll tell you why. There's three things that are very important when you talk about technical SEO. It's loading time, indexability, and mobile responsiveness. Loading time is one thing which will affect your customer experience, because as soon as they click on your website, how rapidly is your website completely loading up and being ready for them to view? If it's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it's considered to be bad, but still okay. Now, when someone clicks on your website, if it takes 35, 40 seconds to load your website, does it make any sense? Do you think someone's going to wait around a minute on your website to sort of check out what you provide? In this fast-paced world, the answer is absolutely no. So having the highest possible milliseconds worth of loading time is what is going to separate your website from being good to great. And then indexability, of course, ranking higher on the website by making sure you have put in all the right stuff. You have legally worked on the website where you're trying to find legal flaws in the algorithms, or basically you're leaving a breadcrumb approach where your crawlers are going through your websites in a way where they understand what good content that you have put up, right? So in a way, you're throwing breadcrumbs for the spiders and the crawlers to pick up in a way that they will rank your website higher. So this is one technical aspect of it. And then there's mobile responsiveness. Now think about it. How many of you are probably watching this particular video on your iPads, on your mobile phones, on your laptops, on your TVs, in your home theater, or wherever, right? So to cater to all of you guys, where every screen size is individual, it's different, your website has to look ideal no matter from where you look at it. If I look through my desktop or your laptop and the website looks beautiful, okay, nice. Now, if I move to my phone, but your website, it really doesn't function anymore like a website, or it doesn't have any sort of order or structure now that I'm viewing on a different aspect ratio or a different resolution, well, that's going to be a turn off, right? Because there can be millions of people who are on their mobiles right now wanting to buy your product, but they might not buy it because your website looks really bad when they see it on their mobiles. No. So this is again one more part of technical SEO which goes hand in hand with on-page SEO as well, to make sure that your website is working fine on a variety of screens all at the same time. So this brings us to the second approach, which is the grey hat SEO. Look, white hat was extremely legal. I'm going to tell you what black hat is. It's illegal. So grey hat, now you're getting a picture, right? So grey hat is like a combination in between white hat and black hat in a way where it's not completely illegal, but there are certain things that you do which is definitely not in line with the rules and the policies. So these are like the techniques which is the combination of white hat and black hat, wherein some of these concepts are absolutely not ethical. They are, they are very good at trying to dodge and evade the rules of the search engine as well. So what are some of the things that are involved in grey hat SEO? It's spamming internal links to a point where you think that it's gonna rank, and there's a good chance sometimes it will rank. Grey hat SEO is a popular technique, of course, but then most of the time, if you do get caught for this, Google's gonna delist your ranking and it's gonna derank it as well. And then there's dubious content. Let's say you have a hyperlink which says click on me to buy a mobile phone, but then as soon as they click on the website, it's going to take them absolutely somewhere else very far away from whatever has to do with mobile phones. That is dubious content where it's doubtful, right? So this is done, and you can put in very dubious stuff, which is something like click on this for a free phone, or here's the mobile phone at an 80% discount when there's actually no discount as such. So that is very dubious, right? So Google will understand this. It is intelligent enough to get this, but then it works because people are curious and they will click on it. So that's grey hat. Being intelligent enough where you're not seeming unethical, but then you're not seeming unethical to the customers, but then whatever you're doing is a little bit, off the charts when it comes to the search engine pages. And then there's link purchases, of course. There's link purchases, there's SEO squatting, where again, so both of these concepts are involved in a scenario where you're trying to pretend that you're someone else. So, you're hiding behind another big brand, or you're trying to use like literally copy paste or whatever the other person is doing to see if it'll work for you. So you're hiding under a mask which is not original, a little bit of plagiarism which can slip through the algorithms, and much more. So SEO squatting is again a very famous technique that's used in the world of grey hats, because sometimes it works and sometimes it'll absolutely go horribly wrong. So grey hat is literally on the fine line where, it'll either work or it'll absolutely go out and not work. So that's grey hat. Coming to black hat, now you have an idea of what we're going to go through, right? So black hat SEO is a technique where it absolutely shatters the entire rules, regulations, ethical practices and whatnot. So you're doing everything you can illegally to make sure your website comes higher up in the rank. Do people do this? Of course they do. There's a lot of cases where black hat SEO techniques are used. What is the advantage of using black hat SEO? Your content is going to rank on a very high spot and it's going to be there for a while. So that if that is more than enough for you, then of course. Now think about it. There's millions of people searching the web for buy a mobile phone. But then what you can do is you can use all of these invalid or violated methods where you can have yours to be the first page. And if there are millions of people searching for it every day, of course there's going to be people clicking on your link because you're right there on the top, right? Yes, so this is done. But can Google get this? Of course, Google is intelligent enough. They're going to de-rank your website. And in fact, there's a good chance they're going to ban the website from being ever ranked on Google again. But in that short duration of time where, they sort of are ranking at number one until the point where they get banned or something, they can make millions of dollars in that particular point of time or deliver whatever content they have to deliver. It's not going to be a transaction all the time. So this is something which is like the most simple way to explain black hat SEO for you guys. And then coming to the technicalities of it, one thing is that it'll involve spamming all of the redirects. So you're going to keep spamming redirects in a way where it'll look like it's a lot of internal links. It's going to look very structured, but no, it's not. And then there's suspicious stuffing where you might have stuffed something which is absolutely irrelevant to whatever you're searching. If it's something about mobile phones, again, you're going to be stuffing something related to vegetable shopping, because when people search for that, you want your website to be seen. And there's a good chance that you think someone searching for vegetables will buy a mobile phone. Yes, that is suspicious stuff. Don't do that. And then there's link changes. Link changes is when you rapidly, you say something on the anchor text, but then you take them somewhere else as soon as they click on it. Well, dubious links. No, that's illegal as well. And then content duplication, as we discussed it, duplicates are bad. You're not supposed to do it, but then there are certain ways where you can slip through the search temporarily until it finds out where you can sort of use this to rank as well. So as gray hats, as white hats, and as black hats, these are the three methods, the approaches that are taken, the popular techniques that exist in the world of SEO, which are used to rank your content. So as per your requirement, how rapid it is you want to rank, or what methods do you want to use? Do you want to be extremely safe, or do you want to violate everything, or do you want to be on the borderline where you're sort of violating it, but it's okay? It depends on you, your brand, your website, your goal, your aim. So once you understand what it's supposed to be done, then you can sort of start learning on what approach you have to take. But then of course, as learners, I would suggest all of you guys start with white hat, master white hat, then to sate your curiosity, check out what gray hat is, and of course black hat as well. Knowing is good, but then make sure that you don't do something horrible which will basically get your website deranked and banned from the search engine. Don't do that, right? So with that, we can move on to one important section, is competition. So whenever the talk is about competition, there is one important thing you have to understand. It's competitive research. See, if there are 2 or 3 brands that are doing exactly the same thing, well, for example, again, let's get back to the mobile phone case. It's Samsung, Apple, OnePlus. There's so many big companies doing a lot of things, right? If they're ranking better than you, or if they're doing better sales than you, if they're marketing better than you, if they have a better on-page content than you, or if they're doing off-page SEO better than you, you will have to understand it and try to reverse engineer this. See, reverse engineering is a process where you try to work backwards to understand how this person got to the goal, and just work back enough to go to the start, right? So the questions you should have whenever you're performing competitive research is, what is your competition doing right? Pick up things that they're absolutely doing right, which is ringing with their audience and which their audience absolutely love. So use that to implement in your website, and there's a good chance you're going to start ranking higher as well. And then what are they neglecting? See, there are certain things that you might be doing on your website, which is great, but they're not doing it. So then you can understand if whatever you're doing, is it necessary? One. Or another way to think about this is that are they neglecting something important that has to be put to the website? If that is so, you can absolutely start adding that to your website as well, right? So these two questions itself will answer a lot about reverse engineering. And then talk about what resources will it take to compete. See, you might be just a startup trying to rank your website, and you're gonna go against big boys in the world. Let's say you're starting IT firm or a software development firm, and you've just started out, and your competition right now is Microsoft, IBM, Intel, all of these big guys. Now think about ranking your website whenever someone searches for software engineering or something like that, right? So what resources will it take? Understand this. You will have some sort of budget, you will have some sort of resources, and how best can it be used based on your competition is something very important as well. So competitive research is the number one important thing in my opinion in terms of SEO, because understanding what they're doing right and wrong is going to give you a pathway, like a shortcut to success. So use it as breadcrumbs, and of course it's going to have a major impact on your website and your SEO campaign as well. Now with that, we'll come to a point where you will have a question saying, okay, so with all of this mentioned, on-page SEO, off-page SEO, technical SEO and whatnot, what makes a good website at the end of the day? How do I know if my website is good enough in the website's perspective and in the SEO perspective, right? See, the first very important thing is site navigation. If you have very complex navigation where, if I have to click through 10 different tabs or 5 different menus to get to something, I will not do it personally, right? I'm sure you guys are nodding your heads to this right now. So having your site which is very simple for your users to navigate through. So it is like a puzzle, it's like a maze. The more simpler it is, the quicker you can get the job done. The more complex it is, there's a good chance your audience will lose interest, or they're like, no, this is not happening. That's one thing. The second thing is having responsive design. As we mentioned in the previous pages, you will get customers from a variety of domains where they're either watching it on their televisions, their computers, their smartphones, their tablets, and now you can watch it on your watches as well, literally. So again, to cater to all of these people, your website has to be responsive enough where it will adapt to all of these, right? You cannot write 4 different websites for 4 different screens. You can have one website which is going to be responsive enough where it understands where it's being viewed from and how it has to show things, right? So this is very important. This is the second thing on what makes a website good in terms of SEO. And third, it's crawler optimization. Crawler optimization, we discussed how this entire thing works, right? So making sure that your website has the ability to be optimized for crawlers, what it has to follow, what it has to not follow, or using all the algorithms and trying to find your way across these algorithms where you will get Google to rank your website. So all of that is involved in crawler optimization for SEO as well. And what does this build at the end of the day for your customer? See, for you, it's all about ranking. But for your customer or the person who has to click on your website, it's all about giving them a good time. It's all about making them feel happy. It's all about giving them a good user experience, right? That's why they're searching for something. So good user experience has to take center stage whenever you're working with SEO, because this has to be your concern. SEO stuffing is what we discussed about, and then it won't make sense if I type jewelry a million times where that the person reading that article is going to be mad. The person's going to go mad saying I cannot read this because this is very annoying. So there is a balance between good stuffing and annoying and bad stuffing. So finding that balance where you're providing great user experience but you're also working on your SEO at the same time, now that's win-win, right? So this is very important, guys. So this is everything that will make a website as good as it gets. So if you're wondering about responsive design, yes, again, variety of devices, it's going to impact a lot. And then there's a bit of technical SEO involved in this as well, because at the end of the day, giving your users a good experience and making sure that they like your brand is all about the quality of content that you put up, the speed in which your website loads and is ready, and of course, stuffing, as I just spoke about, yes, it's about maintaining readability as well. So responsive design is all about this. And then crawler optimization. Crawler optimization is to make sure that all the bots, all the crawlers, all the robots go through your content without much effort. Because if it's too much effort, even the algorithms are good enough to not look at it. So to help your website rank better, crawler optimization is done, and you can do it in 3 different ways. One, it's to provide a structured pathway for your crawlers to crawl through your website and get its content. The second thing is something called language optimization, where Google's algorithms are extremely good at crawling through HTML stuff very well. And now with the onset of JavaScript and its popularity, Google has caught up. Google is amazing at understanding JavaScript now. Its crawlers and robots are very, very good enough to understand everything that is given in JavaScript code. So you have to optimize your language in a way that crawlers will understand, or in a way that crawlers would like to see that particular aspect of code, right? So that's one important thing. And then the third important thing is to avoid HTTP errors. So if you have a lot of errors coming on your website, that is not what Google wants to see, that is not what your customers want to see, or in fact not anyone who clicks on your website. So make sure that you avoid any sort of HTTP error on your web page. If you have an error, fix it. Once you fix it, it's not going to hurt anymore. But then if you constantly have errors that you have not worked on, that you have not fixed, and it's still there no matter what, well, that's going to hurt your ranking, unfortunately. So do all of this to make sure that your website is good. And then how do you define good? Well, here is what it is. Here is a very, very important slide. It's called as trust rating. See, Google or any other search engine, it's gonna check your website, scroll through your website, send spiders through your website to see the quality of content that you put up and how well recognized your brand is. This is from ratings, this is from reviews, this is from if people are talking about your brand, if they're liking it, if they're clicking on it, or everything, right? So this is gonna give you a trust rating, and it's gonna have a numeric which is going to be based on a ratio, which is of course not disclosed to you. So having the higher rating in this particular ratio is going to make the difference between bad, good, and great. If your website is very trusted, for example, we checked out the mobile phones, right? So Amazon is a trusted brand in the world today. So as soon as people start searching for it, Amazon's link is provided first, because Google trusts saying, hey, Amazon is trustworthy and I'd like to show the users this. So it's exactly that. You have to build a trust rate with your customer base in a way where they'd want to click on your content. It's as simple as that. And then the next section is going to deal with something called as local SEO. As the name suggests, local and SEO. Does it ring a bell, guys? So let's think of this scenario where you're providing a solution to a very sort of known problem, right? You're a person who's looking for local visibility. So what do I mean by local visibility? Let's say you are a person who's selling grocery items, or you're a dentist who's looking for patients, or you are a car repair company who's looking for people to bring their cars in. Now, if I'm sitting in one part of, let's say, India, and I'm trying to cater to all of these, you would prefer local customers, right? So rather than someone from the UK wanting to purchase grocery from you, of course, if it's possible, then good. But if your business is something which is niche like this, you're gonna have to target the right audience, right? You understand what I'm saying? So with you being a dentist, there's no point if you are ranking amazingly well in Germany or any other country for that matter. They're not going to fly in, and of course, unless you're very good, you're a celebrity dentist. But then let's get back to reality. So it makes no sense for them to sort of check your website out if you do not have any local SEO methods involved, right? So with local SEO, it's all about making sure people know about your brand. It's all about telling people locally, saying, hey, I exist on a search engine. It's as simple as that, to put into words. Now, when you talk about local SEO, there's three very, very, very important things on your website that you have to show in case if you want to communicate and connect with your community. What are those? It's called NAP or NAP. It's the name, the address, and the phone number of your website. So your name, your brand name, or your company name is going to have a lot of impact on, in terms of local SEO, because again, word of mouth, referral, whatever it is, your name is going to blow up if you're doing a great job in that particular part of the map. And then address, of course, now that people know who you are, where are you at, right? So if you have a dentist's clinic, but then if you do not provide an address, how will the people come to know where your clinic is? So making sure that you provide an address is the make it or break it kind of aspect whenever you think about local SEO. And then of course, phone numbers. As I told you, there's billions of active devices right now, and if you have to cater to your local audience, providing a phone number can be another make it or break it point. because people are going to want to reach out to you. They might have queries to you. They might be coming from a far off place because of the great services you provide or whatever it is. So having a phone number, your email address, your actual address, your name is going to make a day and night difference in the world of local SEO. So now with this, you might be having a question saying, okay, I'm going to do all of this, but then is there a way where I can measure SEO performance? Is there a way where I can track the progress? Is there a way where I can sort of, look at things to see if they're working or not? Guess what? The answer is yes. Of course, there's lots of ways in which you can try to see if your SEO campaign is going on well. Now, one thing you have to understand is that whenever we talk about SEOs, there are professionals in this business who will track every single thing on their website, off their website, and more. You will understand this. Now, there are certain terms called as engagement metrics that you have to understand to see how you will, go on to check the performances. Engagement metrics are these fancy terms that are used to denote a lot of important things, okay? So engagement metrics are these. These are the popular ones. There's conversion rate, there's time on page, there's pages per visit, there's something called bounce rate, and there's something called scroll depth. Now, each of these metrics are a measure of something which will have a direct impact on your SEO campaign and on how your website will rank or not rank. So let's take a look at each one of them. The first one is conversion rate. See, conversion rate is basically the number of customers or number of people who come to your website and then eventually they either go to their goal or not. So if you're a person who's selling a mobile phone, you can have someone who comes in, window shops, does absolutely nothing and goes out. That's something else. We're going to check that as well. So, but then if you have a person who came through your sales funnel on the top of the funnel, who liked whatever you're providing, actually made a purchase and then left, you have served your goal of selling the customer something and the customer is happy that he's bought the product, right? So this is conversion rate. Conversion rate is how many customers have come to your website versus how many of them actually, did the goal that they're supposed to achieve as per your requirements as well. So conversion rate is a very, very, very important metric to understand, where you can find out in which point of this entity that we call as the sales funnel that they're dropping through. Are they coming to the search page and they're just going away from the website? Are they adding the item to the cart and going away? Are they not happy with the price, or what is it? So this will give you clarity to understand why is it that people do what they do when they come on your website as well. And then time on page. Time on page will tell you a lot of things because it will give you a clarity about how much time people are spending on that particular content, right? So if you have a very big blog or an article which is probably 3 or 4 pages long, or let's say it's thousands of words long, if the people spent 15 seconds, 20 seconds on that page, it'll make absolutely no sense because you cannot read thousands of characters in 20 seconds, right? So people have to spend a considerable amount of time reading your content. When will they do that? They'll do that when your content is good, or if there is everything okay with whatever they look at in terms of user interface or all of that, right? But if whatever you're showing is wrong, or it's spammy, or it doesn't make sense, or it's too complex, people are not going to spend their time on your website. So this is again very important metric to track, to understand where you're going wrong. How can you get people to stay more? So there's another term here, it's called as retention ratio. So retention ratio is for what amount of time you are going to hold your customer, or you're going to hold your person who's visiting your website on that particular page. A higher retention is good, but then it doesn't mean a lower retention rate is bad, because if they're coming to just see an image, they don't have to spend like 20 minutes looking at that image. They can come there, check it out for a minute and leave. So depending on what you provide, the time on page metric will change. And with that, there's another metric called as pages per visit. So this is again dependent on your content, but in general, what is the goal of your page, right? So do you want your readers to be on the same page, be engaged with the content, or are you like showing them images where they see one page, they spend less time on it, they move on to the next page, or what is it? So the number of pages every time a person visits is a metric that has to be tracked, because you will understand if people are looking through your campaign entirely, through your website entirely, or are they just again browsing browsing simply and not doing much on your website, right? So this is a very important metric. And the most important metric, in my personal opinion, is the bounce rate. Bounce rate is when people come onto your website and they do without performing any activities at all. Let's say you want to help them better and you're going to have experts from your organization mail them, talk to them, or give them a discount or something, where you say, hey, you know what, why don't you give us your name and your email address and we'll help you out better. But they don't do that. So they just come to your website, just have a look around, absolutely not fill in any form, not search for anything, not click on anything most probably, and they just leave. So this is a bounce rate. So why did this person come on your website and not do anything? There could be a number of reasons for that, and understanding those reasons will give you better clarity of how you can rank. So that's the discussion about bounce rate. And then the next important metric is the scroll depth. Scroll depth will tell you how far people are scrolling down your website as well. Well, you might have thought of this saying, hey, this is not that important as well, right? No. But think about it. If you have written a very detailed blog about something and the people viewing that blog are leaving after like the first 5 paragraphs, it doesn't make sense. You want them to read it entirely. You want them to read it thoroughly, right? Because at the end, it's good content, and at the end for SEO as well. So in that particular case, scroll depth will sort of measure how far down the visitors are actually scrolling on each individual web page. So you can track it down to that. Is your content interesting enough for that person to scroll down? Are you boring them, or is it too complex? Again, these are some of the things that will give you great insight about how you should change your SEO tactics as well. Now with this, there are certain tools which are at the top of their game that you can use for performing all of these SEO tasks. And here are some of the tools. If you're performing keyword research and you want to understand what keywords are ranking, what has a better search volume, what are people actually searching for in terms of specific keywords, generic keywords and whatnot, you can use tools like Google Ads, Keywords Planners, and there's SEMrush, and there's many other tools as well. But then to just keep it simple for you learners, I'm going to mention top 2 tools. And then if your concern is technical SEO, understanding how you can make the site load better, or how you can optimize it for crawlers and everything, you can use tools like DeepCrawl and WooRank to understand how you can go on to work with technical SEO. And if it's all about understanding how you can get your website to rank better and to understand how you can work your way through rankings in terms of beating Google's algorithms, well, in fact, Google gives you a tool. It gives you the Google Search Console, where you can search for what people actually want and how best you can provide it while being legal. And then there's advanced web ranking as well. And another important thing about off-page SEO is if you're looking for backlinking, if you're looking for link attachments, there's a website like Moz, which provides the Open Site Explorer, and then there's Ahrefs, where these two are the top tools in terms of backlinking and understanding what strong backlinks are, how they work, and how you can use it as well. So these are the 4 nice tools that you can go on to use to understand, to get started with in the world of SEO. So the last concept on this particular comprehensive SEO video is this: conversion rate optimization. What is CRO? CRO, as we just mentioned in the previous slide, is when someone's going to enter your website or someone's going to land on your website through a Google search, and they're actually interested into doing something and they perform this transaction. So you're just converting the customer from him being a window shopper to actually buying your products, right? So this is done even in the real world as well. When you walk into a showroom, so you're going to have an expert there who's going to give you all the details about the product that you need and try to convince you to buy the product as well, right? It's going to give you the benefits of the product, how it's helpful to you and whatnot. Here it's similar as well. So from the point when the customer lands on your website all the way till if it's a business, then he or she paying you money and buying the product, this entire process that's involved in this is called conversion rate optimization. And to understand conversion rate optimization, you have to understand that there's 2 main important types of conversions that happen. One is something called as macro conversion, and the other one is called as micro conversion. So macro, as the name suggests, is a big transaction. Micro, as the name suggests, is a small transaction. You will understand. So in terms of macro conversations, see, buying a product is a macro conversation. Requesting a price quote where they're providing their number, having your experts call them, that's a macro conversion. And then even them subscribing to your service. Let's say you're a TV streaming service which is extremely popular right now. They're subscribing to it on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis. So this is like a big goal that you're trying to achieve, right? Selling them a product, giving them a discount, or getting them to subscribe to you in terms of a product. Well, that's a macro transaction. That's like a big goal. And then there's a small goal which will eventually lead to the big goal, which is called as micro conversions. Micro conversions, for example, you're going to tell them, hey, sign up for our email list, give us your details, we'll be mailing you discounts, or we'll be mailing you attractive offers and more details on all of these that you're looking for. So that will help you make up your mind better. So that's a micro conversion. All they have to do is they have to enter their mail. And then there's account creation. Account creation at the end of the day is not going to drive profits to you probably, but it's still one step ahead, in the field of you making a profit. So account creation is a micro conversion. Adding product to a cart is a micro conversion. But then as soon as they purchase the product from the cart, that becomes a macro conversion, right? So I hope you guys are seeing the entire picture here between the quick differences. We're checking out between macro and micro conversions as well. So this is a very, very important concept to understand because micro conversions in one end are very easy to achieve. You can have a lot of people give them their emails or make them create an account or add products to their cart, but your overall goal is mostly concerned with macro conversions, where you want them to buy the product, you want them to use a discount coupon, of course, if they're going to buy a product, and then subscribing to a service where at the end of the day you're running your business based off on this. So I hope this gave you a very good clarity in terms of understanding conversion rate optimization and probably how in fact you can use it for your SEO campaign as well. So with this, we come to the end of the video, and to understand how, and to understand what we have learned in this particular video, we started out with the introduction to SEO. We checked out the insights on how you can learn SEO. We checked out keyword research, search engine functionality, type of SEO, that's on-page SEO with whatever happens on your website, off-page SEO, as the name suggests, whatever happens outside your website. We checked out content duplication. We checked out Google's algorithms and each of the algorithms that exist. Of course, we checked out 4, but then there's a lot more algorithms. Then all the popular techniques, white hat, gray hat and black hat techniques involved, competitive analysis, the characteristics of a good website, measuring and ensuring that you have a local SEO campaign, understanding SEO performance on how you can track your SEO to see if it's working or not. And at the end of it, we checked out a couple of good SEO tools to perform some simple operations and even worked on conversion rate optimization as well. So these concepts, somewhere around 12 or 15 concepts that we discussed is going to be very, very important in your path to become an expert in SEO. So working on all of these is not only fun and informative, but it's going to pave a path for a very good job as well, if that's your concern. Well, with this, you have reached the end of this video. If you have any more points to add to this detailed video on SEO, do head to the comment section and let us know. I'll see you on the next one.